Let me talk about where we're headed today, or tonight. I got 3 main points that I want to highlight that shows the Jazz Combo is a great metaphor for healthy church life. So where we're headed. The importance of good communication, the importance of improvisation within fixed boundaries, and the drama of tension and release. So let's start by talking about the importance of good communication. So we all know that all healthy relationships take shape primarily through good communication. And that's easy to understand because as we are created in the image of God, we know that God is a God who communicates. So since God communicates, we also communicate, right? We, as Covenant Seminary is a big fan of Francis Schaeffer, we can put this event under the heading of He is there and He is not silent, as Francis Schaeffer's famous book reminds us. So jazz in the form of the combo and Christians' participation in the church is fundamentally relational, and these relationships take shape through good communication. So let's talk about 3 main ways under this heading. Let's talk about 3 main ways that the Jazz Combo models good communication that can inform the healthy church. So first, simply being present. Okay? So why start with simply being present? It would seem to be kind of a given, right? If you're going to communicate, you got to show up. But here's the thing: in our society, in most of our suburban communities, community is not the norm. Isolation is the norm. So why is that a big deal? We're going to talk more about isolation in a second. But why is community a big deal? Because it is for God, right? God exists as a community. He is eternally present in community. He's eternal Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. 3 distinct persons, yet united as one. And the Jazz Combo here that we see also has a Trinitarian shape as well. So we're distinct in what we play, but when we find that unity is when the musical magic happens, right? Have you ever gone to a really good concert, and then maybe in the lobby afterwards, after it's all over, you hear people saying, man, that band was tight, or they were really together, right? People talk about musicians playing tight as a really good thing. And what that means is they've achieved a oneness that communicates something very strong. People will say that band was so together. And even in the language of tightness and togetherness, we know that being joined in unity like God is a very good thing. So distinct people coming together and unified around a common goal. All members participated, and together something is achieved that could not have been achieved in isolation, right? So to be joined together in community, you actually have to show up. But the challenge to this is that isolation in our American culture is increasingly isolated. I live in the suburbs of Albuquerque, and the typical scene is that people drive into the cul-de-sac, drive into their garage, shut the garage door behind them, and then they're just shut off from the rest of the world. They got their computer and Facebook, right? But the neighbors, I've got people literally three doors down. I've lived in my neighborhood for 18 months. I've never seen them once. Not once. I know somebody lives there. I've never seen them. So that's kind of the norm of our communities. We kind of maybe peer over our big fences that we have now, and maybe we'll have some nice little chit-chat, but nothing really significant typically with most of our neighbors. This seeps into the church as well. At our church where I work, that's one of our greatest challenges. How do we help people connect? We run around so isolated. We're more connected than ever, technology, but we're not nearly as connected as we should be, face-to-face, human-on-human relationally. So the Bible speaks to this. Ephesians 1 says that we're chosen by God, right, and adopted into His family. So that happens to individuals, but those individuals are never called to be individualistic, right? 1 Corinthians 12, Paul writing to the church in Corinth, he says, be unified through the spiritual gifts. And these are given for the sake of building up Christ's body, the church. He says in verse 21, the eye cannot say to the hand, I have no need of you, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. So we see biblically, and there's way more than that we don't have time for today, but we see biblically that we're created for community, and we find our true meaning when we're united to the whole of Christ's body, which is his church. Real meaning is found not in serving self, but through serving the whole to which we are joined. So, like the church, music is best enjoyed in community, like you see up here on the stage. Not isolation. You know, we live in an iPod world, right? Where I plug in my headphones, I tune out the rest of the world, and I consume my personal music, right? We shut out community, consume personal music. But what if this was not the emphasis of our culture? Music can be, I can sit here and play solo if I want. And a lot of guys do that. Music can be performed in isolation, but my claim today is that it's best experienced not as a narcissistic pursuit of self-expression or self-consumption, but rather in the context of relationships, where there's the communal give and take that you're seeing up here, the give and take of musical interaction. And should not the same be the truth of the church? It may seem to be a given, but simply showing up and forsaking isolation is the first step in learning to communicate well.